How do you do, everybody? Today I really wanted to show off one of the projects that I made in Sveltekit. There's a lot of utility in the networking realm as like a looking glass appliance that can be managing multiple servers in a monolithic way, so you can really have a looking glass into every single point of presence that you have within your network. In the future, I want to expand upon the functionality such that this can be put on any kind of Linux router or use the API of various networking appliances. But for now, we just have ping and master trace routes. As long as you have each instance of this Sveltekit looking glass monolith hosted on a different machine. So I wanted to walk you guys through how to get this set up and how it works. So first off, we're going to need to install all the npm packages related to this project. After you've cloned it, I'll have a link to the GitHub in the description below. Just npm I to install all the packages. Then if you see here, we use Prisma as a database as like a centralized way to be able to, like, from wherever you decide you want to put your front end, so that it has the data for all the points of presence. And that's where you need to edit the environment variables. For example, I'm using a local SQLite database to do this. That's a really good way because you only really need to access the database from one point of presence. But you can also have it as like a public MySQL database. We can see the schema here, so it includes quite a bit of information that I can expand on in the future, but only a few of them are critical. The ID, that's like if you want to use a query stream to have it default to a certain point of presence, like if you click on a point and then people can enter in their details from there. And the name, that's what shows up within the, I can show you guys right here, the point of presence name. And then the last crucial one is the DNS. I say DNS because in reality you guys should be using HTTPS when you deploy this, because you want the front end to be secure, so you can't really call an HTTP endpoint from an HTTPS like browser window. So you make sure to use HTTPS on like a reverse proxy hosted on the machine whenever you deploy the backend. So continuing on that, if you want to generate the type safety, we'll use the command npx prisma generate. Now we've generated type safety for config. We can use like the linting to see database variables and whatnot if you wanted to configure this on your own. In a production database, you'll also want to do npx prisma db push, and it'll push it to the edge, or push the config or changes that you've made to your database, in this case devdb, but I've already done that, so I'm not going to do that here. And then we can do npx prisma studio, and this is where we can like edit the database resources. So we go here, we can open up a window, and we see I have one for Dallas named Dallas, Texas, and I have this on my home lab with just the HTTP, since this is local, not behind TLS or anything like that at this port. And I'll also show you guys what you can do with that and how like the backend works shortly, because this is a monolithic application. There's no two parts of it. You basically just need to deploy this one part wherever you are. Perhaps I'll make a Docker container for this later, such that it becomes really easy to actually deploy it. So from here, we can actually test it out. So let's start fresh. I'll reload it. We can append, or I guess I have to start it real quick. Let's exit out of the Prisma Studio to add the database resources, because we've already done that. We can do npm run dev in order to run this. It'll start up real quick, and then I can go here. We can reload the page. It should load pretty quickly because this is a pretty small app. It doesn't have a lot of overhead at all. Essentially, these will just run the ping and mtr commands from like your networking IP tools on like a Linux machine. So you want to make sure the backend is on a Linux machine. So we test ping here. We can go, let's test, ping. Let's test it pinging to Cloudflare's name servers, the recursive name servers. And bam, you can see it entered in here. You can also do master trace route. I'll reload it real quick. And it takes a little bit longer to do this, but it only does one entry at a time, since that's most crucial information is just the route that it will take. So it'll show us the route that it'll take right here. Now, this is just the front end. We have a layout group that I have created for the back end where it'll pull. So it'll pull each command, and then it uses a slug for the actual host that we're utilizing. So say I have Postman up here, and we are going to send a GET request. So we can take the API URL from here, and bang, this is where I'm hosting the API on my home lab real quick. We can do ping, send a ping request to this host. And then we don't need any other requirements. I mean, I can also make it in the future that you can only ping from like the web interface, but it doesn't really make a lot of sense right now. Or I could add in rate limiting. Let's say you send this request, and it will send you back the text of the output from the backend. But yeah, I hope you guys did enjoy it. This was a neat little project. I really like it, and I think that it could help a lot of other small businesses in production with a looking glass utility that they can use and manage quite a few points of presence. And if you have any other feature requests that you'd like me to add, make sure to tell me in the comments below.